How many of you would rather watch college sports than professional? Well, a college athlete receiving financial compensation for their efforts is becoming a highly discussed topic in the sports world. The idea that they should be paid is influenced by the multi-million-dollar industry these athletes help create. The National Collegiate Athletic Association, or NCAA, has put in many rules to prevent college athletes from receiving extra money. If college athletes were allowed to be compensated, it would completely change sports. These athletes would no longer be playing for the love of the sport they play and for their school, but they would be playing for the money they would be receiving. It would turn college sports into professional. Addressing this issue is important because if the players are allowed to be paid, the competitiveness of the game would greatly decrease. This in turn will cause a loss of viewers and a decrease in revenue for the media. Paying college athletes would not only affect college athletes, but would also affect high school athletes desiring to play at the next level. So, should we pay college athletes? No, college athletes should not be allowed to receive money in college sports. The most important reason they should not receive money is because there's no way to determine who would be paid. Another reason they should not be paid is because they're already being paid through their scholarships. And finally, it's not what college is about. These are not professional athletes, therefore they do not deserve to be paid. It's impossible to determine who would be paid. You couldn't tell. There would be too big of a gap between the large universities and the small universities. Larger universities like Auburn and Alabama would bring in a lot more money than smaller universities like Western Kentucky or the University of Memphis. This would cause larger universities to be able to buy out the best players for their teams, putting smaller universities in a greater disadvantage. College sports and athletes who participate should not be centered around money. Athletes should focus their passion for the sport they play and be grateful to receive whatever money they do. Another reason they should not be paid is because they're already being paid in scholarships. According to the NCAA's website, the average value of one in-state years of tuition is $15,000. The scholarship awarded to the student athletes is valuable in many ways. Without them, they would not be able to pursue their academic or athletic goals. The individual who receives these scholarships are extremely talented and work very hard to earn the money awarded to them. Paying them additional money would either decrease the university's income or cause the prices of tickets and tuition to raise. And this is not fair to other students. According to a USA Sports article, in 2012, only 23 of 228 athletic departments were able to cover their expenses last year. A final reason they should not be paid is because athletes are students first. Many people forget this, but if schools begin to hire students solely based on their athletic ability, this alters the meaning of college for these individuals in the first place, and college becomes a job rather than a place to learn and grow as an individual. You're supposed to get a job in order to support yourself and learn what it takes to make a living. If colleges pay their athletes, it defeats the purpose of any of this because it's hurting the players' integrity. If the players are good enough, they will go on to make $1 million in the professional level. If they are not good enough, they at least have a degree from a university and no student loans. Yes, many people disagree with this and say that the athletes are being taken advantage of and they're just using them to bring money in for their school. But if the only argument people have for paying college athletes is that they generate money for their school, then high school athletes should also be paid because they also bring in money for their school. Allowing the universities to participate in paying athletes would have a negative effect on the sports. The NCAA would also have to completely redo the rule book, which would take days, weeks, even years, and could cost the NCAA a lot of time and money. Colleges do not need to pay their players. If they did pay their players, they could Even if players did receive money, they'd still never be happy with the amount of money they received. College would turn just into professional sports, and there would be contract disputes, just as there are in the professional level. Therefore, college athletes should remain amateurs and not be allowed to receive any extra money.